And we did it!
Live from Nashville, Buffalo, Kansas, and Philly, this is the Fantasy Insiders, InsidersTV, Daily Fantasy MLB Show. Now, your host, Davis Maddox.
I'm really uncomfortable with that intro. I think the person who deserves that intro is one of my co-hosts, one Mr. Mike Leone, who has his bags passed for Las Vegas with his sick DFBC quali win the other night. And we're joined by, David Loughran. I guess he's pretty good at daily fantasy sports and stuff, but he doesn't have one of those sick qualifier seats yet.
No, I don't.
It's only a matter of time.
Are you playing? Are you hitting the qualifiers pretty hard, Laffy?
Not on FanDuel. I haven't gone over there yet. To be honest, I'm not a huge fan of FanDuel. I've been on a bunch of other sites. I mean, I love DraftKings, except that one over there is not going to be easy to get into if you've seen the one I'm talking about.
They're just straight championship.
Well, yeah, but it's $200. I mean, they've only run $200 ticket qualifiers, and there's I think 365 people in each one, and only first place takes it. So it's tough. I think the ticket's worth around $55,000. It's in where is it in? Nat told me yesterday. I always forget.
The DK, it's in the Bahamas, right?
Yeah, but it's in one of those majestic islands, you know.
Yeah, well, it's like a World Poker Tour. It's like Turks and Caicos or something, right? Because it's where they do like some World Poker Tour stuff.
Someone in the chat should know where it is.
Atlantis.
There we go.
See, it's got that majestic feel to it, right? Like, you know, you go from 6 to 12 just hearing the name.
Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, let's talk about some baseball because these guys don't really care about what we're doing. So let's talk about some baseball.
That's debatable.
Yeah. Well, they don't. Trust me. Other than there are no weather concerns. Finally, it's beautiful everywhere today. It's like this is like the nicest day in Kansas since I've been in college. It's like 72 degrees, no wind. I almost fell asleep outside reading a book earlier. It's really nice. As far as Vegas lines or any of these games really sticking out to you, I assume the Philadelphia Colorado game with the 10.5 over under. You guys pretty about that life?
Yeah, I think mini stacking the Phils and the Rockies is a good way to go in cash games. I mean, maybe not full on, definitely have some secondary value play pieces to complement those hitters, but I want at least 2 Phils and 2 Rockies in every cash game lineup.
Yeah, I love that game. And look, I follow the Phillies real closely. They're not hitting right now at all. They just won a game 1-0, and then they lost a game before that 1-0. And the 9-6 game that they just lost 2 games prior was they had 5 runs in an inning. So you take that inning out, and we're looking at 3 straight games with 1 or less run. They're not scoring. They're not hitting the ball. And that's what we've become accustomed to seeing with Philly. 2 weeks into the season, they led the league in walks. That's not going to happen. They made Alex Wood throw nothing, and can't pronounce his name. Tehran, complete game.
I've heard it both ways.
Listen, call me crazy, and I know that 10-5 over under Coors Field. There's nothing to like about pitching here, but 5,900 on DraftKings and a GPP. I will have Chatwood in the lineup. Just saying, I will have him in a lineup. He's not as bad as his price has him on there. Yeah, it's definitely not a cash game play by any means. Hell, it's probably not any play. But I know how bad the Philadelphia offense is. They're terrible. So you never know. We'll see what happens.
Okay. Well, as far as Vegas goes, I think maybe the only other. Okay. Yeah, I don't think we need to talk about that. Was a good point, but I don't know if there's anything really refutable about the Phillies offense. I think your point is well taken. The only other game I think that is worth really analyzing from a Vegas perspective is the San Francisco-San Diego game because Tyson Ross and Matt Cain could be pretty attractive options, especially for tournaments if you're not looking to play Sonny Gray.
Which
Leone,
You should play him.
Well, yeah, but some people always want to do different things. I played Danny
Sure.
Salazar in the early slate yesterday. Like, people
Me
are
too.
just dumb. Yeah,
Me
I'm
too.
stupid.
No, he has strikeout.
Easy there, Davis.
No, it was a bad play. It was a bad. I should have played Alex Wood. It was not.
Oh,
it was
you
not
played.
a good.
Oh, I thought it was a 2-pitcher format. You just
Nope.
played Salazar.
No, played.
That was dumb.
Yeah, I played Salazar on FanDuel. It
Yeah,
wasn't
I
a
like-
good look.
But yeah, I think Ross is definitely a good tournament play, even a cash game play on a site like DraftKings. He's got a high K rate. A lot of those low price guys often don't come with high K rate, so you're starting off with a pretty low floor. But he's just under a strikeout an inning. He's got a really high ground ball rate, good park. The only worry with him is he gets wild and walks guys every now and then and can't get lefties out. So there is some risk, even though it's set up pretty nicely.
But San Francisco, I mean, I don't know. They're not very lefty heavy, are they? I guess I need to look at their lineup today. It might not be out yet.
They have enough. But the thing about Tyson Ross is, some guys don't really have sometimes their home away splits are negligible. Many times they are, but Tyson Ross's home away splits are actually considerably different, and it makes sense because he's playing it at such a huge pitcher's park. So I do think it makes a difference. Granted, it would be the same thing if it was at AT&T Park, but sometimes pitchers just perform better at home. So, take that as you may. But last season he had a 2.03 ERA at home and a 4.02. So it's 2 points higher on the road. He played a couple more games away, but yeah, it's just it's something to look at. And as Mike noted earlier, he strikes people out. He'll get strikeouts. He just can also get wild, and as many times strikeout pitchers do.
Yeah, and I think that's how I personally lean, even in cash games, is if someone like Strasburg or Kershaw, Verlander, whatever, is not pitching in a prime matchup, I'm much more likely to take a guy in like sort of a mid-tier range who's a high K guy over taking someone like Jordan Zimmerman, who's really good, but who just doesn't K a lot of batters. So I think that way I'm leaning right now on DraftKings is taking Gray and Ross. I really like Eovaldi, though. So let's just talk. Either one of you have a problem with Sonny Gray as number one pitcher for the day?
Nope, I had him as the number one pitcher.
He's the first guy that catches your eye when you look at this slate. Look what Shields did last night. And Shields is a guy that had been, I think it's safe to say, he hasn't had a nice season thus far. It's only been a couple starts. But he'd been struggling, and he wasn't great last year. And what's he go, like 8 innings with 12 Ks yesterday against Houston. And then this one's in Oakland. Yeah, I have zero problem roster and Sonny Gray in every lineup tonight.
Okay. Leone, who's your number two guy?
Straight up or value-wise?
Let's just go value-wise, because we're not talking raw fantasy points.
Yeah, the guy I'm on a lot today is Charlie Morton. He's just kind of like death to right-handed batters, and he gets a Brewers lineup that has 8 right-handed batters in it at home in PNC Park, which is a pretty strong pitcher's park that a lot of people don't realize. I think that's a very safe play with, gives you a lot of cap relief so you can spend on the guys in the Colorado-Philly game that we talked about.
Laffy, who's your number two guy?
Since he gave you Morton, who I also like as well, let me give you a wild card, aside from Chatwood, obviously, that he has a ton of upside, and he's priced significantly lower than he should be. And Justin Masterson, I know he can get wild. He can be terrible, actually. He can be hit really hard. But this guy has also had some incredible games. I mean, he had a bunch of complete games last year. He can strike batters out. At 7,700 on DraftKings, I'd more than happily throw him in GPPs. There's plenty of potential with that price tag. I mean, you look at him around the same price as Ricky Nolasco, and there's definitely, and Wade Miley. There's potential there.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable. My number two guy, well, probably not my straight up number two guy, but the guy as far as like value that I'm leaning for is Nate Eovaldi, and I know that Laffy, I think you disagree with me. I don't know. Am I way off base?
No. I disagree with you on price on DraftKings just because I think there's a lot more value for significantly lower. That's all. Only on DraftKings. 9K is a lot to spend for somebody that hasn't proven he's capable of exceeding value at that price tag.
Yeah. It's just like his home ERA is a half a run better than his road ERA. So I think that you get a little like I think anytime you see that much of a split, I think you're getting a discount for a pitcher when he's at home. 9K is a lot. What?
Career?
Career, yeah. Just looking at his splits. He's pitched 136 innings at home, 143 on the road, and it's not quite a whole half run. It's 0.4 runs better at home, and he also is just really good against right-handed batters. And outside of Cano and Miller, I don't know.
They're gonna load that lineup with lefties. They might not be good, but they're gonna load it up with lefties.
Yeah, I mean, well, of course, yeah, that's how that goes. But like, I'm just talking guys that you're like super afraid of. Yeah, the lineup's not out yet. As far as
I agree with you on the upside on Eovaldi, but I think there might be more downside too than a guy like Morton, just because of the issues with left-handed batters. Like a 23% line drive rate to them. He walks 10% of them. So I think if he can work around those issues, there's a lot of upside in this start, but
I think he's
not
probably
my favorite cash game play.
Yeah, he's definitely much more of a tournament play. I just like guys who throw hard.
And the Mariners, despite not having a great lineup, they're not terrible either. They're not your Astros or your Marlins. They do have potential to put some runs on the board. But they also have potential to completely disappear as well. There's a lot of young guys on that team, a lot of young, undisciplined, like raw talent. Just look at the lineup that they have out there today. It's already posted. There's plenty of potential to exploit that for Eovaldi, but he could also be beat up a little bit too. I'd proceed with caution there.
I have a question. Is Eric Bedard a reverse splits guy?
I don't think so.
Okay, then Eric Bedard is an excellent tournament play versus the Yankees today, who have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 batters, 6 lefties, if we're including Solarte as a left-handed batter, because I think he's better from the left side of the plate.
I'll tell you right now, Bedard, and I'm just using basic stats right here off ESPN because I already had it pulled up. But last year, because they don't do full career, they do like 3 years, but I'll just give you last year. He was, lefties hit 309 off of him last year with a 441 slugging, 832 OPS, whereas righties hit 244. So if that's not reverse splits for you,
so he is reverse split. So I take that back.
Granted, it was only 2 home runs though.
For his, it depends if you're looking at last year, if you think he's really moved in that direction, or if you look at the 3-year data, it's pretty even splits with a lot more power to right-handed batters than left-handed batters.
I mean, it might just be a thing where
I don't know about a lot more, Mike. I don't know about a lot.
If you're looking at like the 3-year data, he gives up like over a home run per 9 to righties, but only like 0.6 to lefties.
Yeah, slugging's 414 to 378. I mean, there's a difference there, but yeah, they're right. That's a huge difference in home runs. Whereas average, it's funny, lefties actually have a higher on base percentage, but not nearly as much power. So
yeah, it's pretty, like Tuttle just posted in the chat, the career splits. He's pretty even splits guy.
Yeah. But at the same time, it's not like he's mowing down righties or lefties.
No, I've just listened to Matthew Berry on the Fantasy Focus podcast for too long. He loves Bedard. So I just saw that name. I saw those lefties, but we need to stop talking about him right now because using him is just setting your money on fire. Okay.
No, okay. He's an okay tournament play. Not someone I'm on, but I think you had a good point.
Yeah, I mean, it just might have been one of those things where like the lineup with injuries and stuff would have been set up for success, but it's not like he's like a lefty.
Davis, I just gave you the segue out of it. And
yeah, I know. Okay, all right. God damn it. Okay. Are there any other pitchers that you guys want to talk about from a tournament perspective at all? I think my guys. Oh, we need to talk about Smiley real quick because I kind of like him today. There is a concern with innings though. So Leone, are you on Smiley at all?
Not really. I think that's a guy that I might not pick on, but I'm not playing either. I kind of do that with the guys I'm not sure what to expect. out of, like Tuttle just said in the chat, he isn't stretched out a lot, whether it be because of weather concerns or that they didn't need a fifth starter right away. He's not someone I'm really on. The Angels lineup's okay against right-handed or left-handed pitching. I won't pick on him, but I won't play him either.
Yeah, I'm the same way. When I look over each day's slate, I make a list of players I'm targeting to roster and players I'm targeting to play batters against. And he was in purgatory. He wasn't one or the other. He's just there. So I think you have to take a wait and see approach with someone like him, unless he's minimum salary. But even in that case, with a pitcher, it's different rostering like a minimum salary player in basketball and a minimum salary pitcher, because you can't take 4 fantasy points and do well unless your bats really come alive. And sure, it's possible, but like you and Mike both said earlier, is there really much point when we have good value across the board?
No, not at all. And I think that there's a point that needs to make, and Dink wrote about this, and there's a piece on Roto Experts if you want to go find it. But basically, it's just like you need to get those points from pitching because it's so hard to accurately predict where your points are going to come from batting.
Exactly.
It's just so much harder to make it up with hitting dollars.
And that's why last night I'm spending on Sale and Wainwright, instead of gambling on someone else. And
I took Shields last night because the Astros.
Well, Shields too, but
same concept though.
But yeah, exactly. Shields was more expensive than Shields was like $200 cheaper than Sale, and with so much uncertainty with someone like, I'm not going to go back to yesterday. My point is, I'm going with more expensive pitchers on nights like that because there is no consistency with these batters. Even if they're on a hot streak, it doesn't matter who it is. He can go 0 for 5 anytime in the best matchup. But when you have a quality pitching matchup, odds are he's gonna have a serviceable game over a hitter that's a lot riskier.
Yeah. All right. I think that should cover it on pitching. You guys ready to move to hitters?
Let's do it.
Let's talk about Drew Hutchison first.
Okay, that was the one guy
talk about Drew Hutchinson. Go for it.
That was the one guy I was toying with throwing out there too, because if you're playing on Draft Street and you want to fit in expensive bats but still go the 3 starting pitcher strategy, Hutchison's the cheapest pitcher there, and given his K rate, I think it's worth the risk.
He hasn't been terrible. I was actually entirely joking, but now, no, not really. Now that we bring it up, 6. He had 6 strikeouts in 3 1/3 inning against the Yankees. And look at his matchups, Mike. They have not been that easy of matchups. You got Tampa Bay, New York, and Baltimore. So, not to say Cleveland's that a cakewalk either, but like you said, on Draft Street, he's the cheapest. Is he the cheapest pitcher overall?
Cheapest starting pitcher. He's like 8 something.
Right.
So basically, you're just hoping, okay, I can get an expensive bat, still use 3 starting pitchers, but if he strikes out a batter in an inning, he shouldn't kill me. Is kind of the thought process.
I would agree with that. Thank God I brought it up in jest, right?
Yeah, who knows where we would have been.
On to Paulino.
No, stop.
Go ahead, man.
All right. So, who's your favorite catcher, Leone?
The guy I'm playing the most is Carlos Ruiz, because I don't love a lot of catchers tonight, so I'm just going to take him at a middle of the pack price in a game that I think there's just going to be a lot of scoring in. If you look at the totals, I know we already kind of talked about it, but I think there's only 2 games with a total greater than 8, and it's this one at 10.5, and then the Rangers one. So the 3 teams that are by far the highest expected scoring teams are the Rangers, Rockies, and Phillies. So at a position where I'm kind of stuck and no one strikes me as having a great individual matchup, I'm just going to put Chooch.
Okay. I mean, honestly, like, my strategy when it comes to catchers is sort of which Oakland catcher is hitting, where are they in the lineup, and what pitcher are they facing. And I kind of think Jaso is, like, in not a terrible spot tonight. So I think I might actually play him instead, just because he's so much cheaper. Yeah.
He's not a bad option, but Cosart's not a bad pitcher. He really is not a bad pitcher. He's given up runs, I know,
But he walks lefties a lot though.
And that's the thing. I was going to say he does walk lefties a lot. If you're going for a minimum salary guy, right, or not minimum, but you say he's cheap. So if you're going for a guy where, a couple walks and maybe a single and a run scored or an RBI, then I completely agree with that. But I guess all I'm saying is Cosart isn't the kind of guy that is just, you wouldn't think he's the kind of guy that's just going to get destroyed, And you look at his games, he had a 5 innings, 0 earned runs, 6 innings, 5 earned runs. That was against the Angels. And then 3 earned runs over 7 against Texas. So, I don't know. Yeah, I don't have a problem with him, though. Yan Gomes is cheap on DraftKings, too. I think he's $3,200 against Hudson.
Yeah, he's hitting 8th, though.
He is hitting 8th.
Jace was hitting 7th, so.
Oh, is he really? Okay,
Yeah.
I hadn't looked at the lineup. I assumed he was.
Jason Ruiz, you're not really getting a catcher in the top of the lineup
right
today.
Yeah.
So,
right.
So it's kind of all cancels each other out. I like Jason because of the walk rate thing that you mentioned. That's his strength matching up against Cozart's weakness. But on most sites, I'm still going Ruiz. FanDuel, I could buy it because, a point here and there on FanDuel can take you a long way. You see those scores in 50-50s. But on other sites like Draft Street, you're not winning games with a guy that goes 1 for 4 with a single and a walk.
Yeah, see, but on FanDuel, like, just having a guy go get 0 points instead of -2.5 like matters.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm cool with him on FanDuel. Just
completely agree with that. And Oakland is heavily favored in this game. And the over-unders at 7. They're -210. So that tells you that they really like Sonny Gray, and they don't like Houston to score hardly anything. So yeah, I could see a run scored, a single, and a walk out of why not? And
All
then
right.
I think
I've got a question for you guys. What about?
It's Dave talking.
Yeah.
that guy.
Dave's back.
Oh.
Hey, Dave.
Oh gosh, you
Go ahead,
guys.
Dave.
I have a question. Sonny Gray, everybody is on him tonight. So what about like in tournaments? He's my boy, but what about targeting him like in qualifiers or big tournaments where everyone's going to be for him? He does have the, I guess, seeing him pitch, like he is capable of getting just shelled every once in a while, having a high pitch count early. So my question is, what about targeting him for those contrarian plays?
Well, if you want to be contrarian, yeah, but that's not a percentage play. That's not a play that's going to be profitable as if in like a significant portion of the time. You'd be hard pressed to parse something out of the data that would say that you should do that.
I'm talking about on FanDuel where 60 to 70% of people are going to be having Sonny Gray, like in the $10 qualifier.
Now I agree with you. But if I have multiple lineups, if I have one qualifier lineup, I'm not gonna stack against Sonny Gray. But if I have several of them, yeah, Dave, I don't see any problem with that. We're talking about percentage. Yes, 60. I wouldn't be surprised if 70+% in certain tournaments have Sonny Gray or certain contests. He's a young pitcher. He's 24 years old. He has 13 career starts in the majors. Like you said, there's definitely potential to get lit up, even by an awful team. You see it happen. Look what happened to Strasburg the other day against the Marlins. It's possible.
Yeah, well, I think it's kind of crazy if you look at the guy who won the one night. Granted, he had a ton of entries, but with one of them, he did a Marlins stack against Zimmerman. So he took out it was kind of 2 birds with 1 stone. He took out all the teams that had Zimmerman, and then he had all these low percentage plays that no one else had hit. It's something that I would never do, and because of that, I'm going to do it in one of my teams tonight, Dave, just for you. Astros mini stack.
Yeah, I mean...
Very nice.
Like,
I appreciate the, Dave chiming in, but really I was looking to get the advice from a fellow FanDuel qualifier like you, Michael.
It's a club.
It is.
Maybe you and I should just be doing the show, but
I'm gonna go home.
You
guys are really good people.
I really feel like you're gonna finish better than second to last place, though. Unlike me, Mike, because you actually win these tournaments. I just am there for the free food, basically. Anyways, go ahead with what you're talking about.
All right. Well, I want to talk about one more catch before we move on. Are either one of you guys on Saltalamacchia versus Chris Young?
I think there's some home run upside just because Chris Young's an extreme fly ball pitcher, but he's not someone that I have anywhere.
I kind of like my contrarian play for the night would be not that it's super contrarian, but I kind of like the Marlins tonight. Like I super like Yelich against Chris Young tonight.
Super like, huh?
Super like. Yeah. I just like leadoff hitters against bad pitchers where the platoon split favors the leadoff hitter. I'm just all about that.
Projection systems like him tonight. I know that Derek's system was high on him as well, so just something to think about.
I'm going to make an observation about Cardi's projection system. Something in there, like if you're a Marlin, that gives you like a 15% boost.
Does he live in Miami?
No, I don't know, but it just always seems like Marlins find his way into his write-ups.
The only thing I'm worried about, I like Yelich tonight too, but I think with some projection systems has like his splits versus right-handed pitching have been very good, but they've been kind of BABIP driven. So that worries me a little bit if they'll be as favorable in the short term as they have been recently.
Is it just me, or does Mike sound like a know-it-all today after winning the qualifier on Wednesday?
Well, here's the thing. He's always been a know-it-all, but now he's more confident in his know-it-allness.
I gotta back up my man Mike. I don't see that in him. I don't see it. I think he's a pretty humble guy. Congratulations, Mike. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Hey, I want it to be known that I congratulated Leone before it was all wrapped up. I was in my room.
Yeah, you FI guys, you and Pritchett.
Oh man, I was so happy. I was texting Case. I was like, "Oh my god, Trout's gonna score. This is gonna happen. It's gonna happen." And I got so excited, and then I tweeted about it, and then Jordan was like, "Dude, you can't do that. You have to delete that tweet right now."
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you
before you start.
Damn right, I tweeted before he won because I was that confident.
Just know I have a whole bag of with your name on it.
I think Leone's audio just went out. I think Soccer just turned Leone's audio out.
Is this like around the horn?
I wish. I can't do. I don't have that capability.
Then Leone,
throw me a frickin' phone here.
I can hear you, Mike. Yeah.
I can't.
I can't hear you at all.
I love how he's like trying to yell, thinking that that's gonna help out.
Look at that.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I must have muted myself.
I've done that before. It's these headphones. They have that weird little button right there.
But I was gonna say it was pretty funny because Ben tweeted at me early, and I'm like, "Dude, it's not over." And he like totally overreacted in the other direction. He goes, "Oh, I'm so sorry. You can pour a drink on me if you ever see me." I deleted the tweet right away, and I was like,
"No."
I was like, "It's gonna be okay."
I didn't want to delete it at all. I was like, nah, Leone. As soon as he scored that run, because it was such a Mike Trout thing too, just like first to third, like he swagged it out for you. He scored that run for you.
I got to give Howie some credit too because he beat out the double play.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's talk about first baseman
Davis.
Yeah.
Just real quick before we do it, I know you mentioned Rosario earlier today, and it's the righty on righty, and he's clearly not great against righties at all, but. For the way that DraftKings boosts, and I know you know this, the way they boost prices when people play at Coors Field, he is not spiked nearly as much. And I don't care who he's facing today. I'm expecting Pettibone to be out after 4 or 5 innings. So I think you can almost erase that, assuming that he might see some. I don't know how many lefties the Phillies have in the bullpen. I'll look that up.
I think they have a ton of lefties.
That's what I thought. So you have to assume Pettibone's not going 7 innings. $4,000 on DraftKings Rosario. I have zero problem looking at him tonight. Plus, he can hit one off Pettibone. Righty on righty doesn't matter to me. Pettibone's not good, and just because he had a decent start against the Marlins means nothing.
Okay, well, we only have like 25 minutes left to do the rest of the hitters, so let's do first base. Who's your number one first base play in terms of dollars per point, Leone? Not dollars per point, just the value. Like
the two guys I'm playing most are Ryan Howard and Prince Fielder.
I mean, Howard is obvious. Break down a little bit why you like Fielder tonight.
He's, at home versus, okay, I'm blanking. Who's he facing again?
He's facing Chapman. Oh, no. He's facing Polino.
Yeah, okay. Polino's been terrible to start the season. His K rate's low, walk rate's high, ground ball rate's low. Everything's worse than his career numbers, and, with a guy coming back from injury, that's a little worrisome. He can give up a homer to left-handed bats, and I just think Fielder's still underpriced from his slow start.
Can someone explain to me who Jim Adducci is?
I have no idea who he is, but
I don't know who that human is.
I hate him because Mitch Moreland's not playing because of him, but Adducci is the bare minimum on FanDuel, hitting 6th, which I guess you could take a flyer on.
I actually looked this up earlier. Jim Adduci is actually a baseball player who played for the Brewers, and he is 54 years old. However, it's his son, Jim Adduci Jr., that is playing for the Rangers today.
If it was a 54-year-old guy, that would be better. I mean, Kevin Kuzma's 54 years old.
What is everybody eating on the show? Like,
grapes.
Sunflower seeds.
I'm not eating anything.
Yeah, for real.
You guys ever tried to quit smoking? I don't know what to do with my hands ever, so I need to be doing something.
No, I've never tried. Too many jokes.
All right, Lofty, give us a first base play other than Fielder and Howard.
Yeah, let me just run through some real quick since we don't have a lot of time. Abreu of the White Sox, righty against the left-handed Perez, who's really not that good. Someone I don't mind tonight, Eric Hosmer, and one guy that I'm surprised nobody's mentioned yet is Justin Morneau.
Someone just typed him out in the chat.
Yeah, I'm not even looking at the chat, but he's, what is he, 4,400 on DraftKings. Sorry, I reference DraftKings a lot. I'll leave the other sites to you guys. But he's coming off 2 solid games, and 4 of his last 5. And I do believe in hot streaks when it comes to baseball. I think it's a lot different than a lot of other sports. And those were in San Diego where he's having these games. Only 1 home run, but still, at home against Pettibone, I could roster him everywhere tonight and feel comfortable. But I like Abreu.
Loney, are you with the Morneau pick?
I like Morneau. It's just his price. I was surprised it was as high as it was on a lot of sites, and I don't find myself playing him over the 2 that I mentioned at the same pricing.
Okay.
Yeah, with Prince Fielder playing so well, it's hard not to play him. I'm just
all right. Yeah.
Not
all right.
Funny, Dave.
Second base, Utley. Who else?
It's only Utley. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, Utley's really expensive, so I'm not getting as much exposure to him as I would like.
I bet he's dumb expensive on Draft Street. I haven't even looked yet.
He is dumb expensive on Draft Street, but not. He was like $13K one day, and then they must have fixed something because there's no hitters that much anymore. But Kawasaki on Draft Street, he sucks, but he's hitting second, and Masterson struggles against lefties.
True story. I had him rostered for his only ever MLB home run.
Oh my god! But he's like, where he gives you a lot of salary cap relief. I don't mind him. I don't mind punting with LeMahieu for the Rockies just because of the game. Donnie Murphy from Texas, cheap power potential against Paulino.
I'm still convinced that I'm going to roster Ben Revere for his first home run. I don't care how long it takes. But, well, Davis, you seem to like lefties in the Marlins. What do you think about Derek Dietrich?
Yeah, he was in my first run lineup. What I've been doing with baseball is I've been doing my own lineup based off of just my own research and splits and stuff.
And then
and then going around and looking at what everyone else has to say and then doing the show and doing my final run. And he was on my first run, of just doing my own stuff.
And at first base, Garrett Jones, man, hitting clean up.
Hardy would be so proud of us.
Yeah, He actually had him the one day in the article, and he went 0 for 4, 0 for 5. So I said, yeah, let's see. I'll put him in the next day with like a similar matchup, and he went deep. So Cardi had the right idea. The dude, he had the right idea. I just thought, hey, let's see if I can milk something out of this, and it worked. But I think lefties in the Marlins lineup today actually have some potential.
Yep. All right. That's about it though. Second base kind of sucks. If you're not paying up for Utley, I do like Dietrich. It's not bad to punt with Kawasaki either.
Yeah, second base sucks. Let's go to shortstop, which is
Rollins, Tulo. Who else?
Isn't Rollins expensive on a lot? I mean, for some reason, his price is always way too high on the site.
I think it's FanDuel is the only site where there's a big enough gap between him and Tulo where I think he's viable.
He's 3.3 on FanDuel.
I like him a lot. It just, if he's priced the same with Tulo, I'm taking Tulo. But I'm pretty much taking Tulo everywhere tonight. I'm not really messing around at shortstop.
Yeah, okay. I'm with you. DraftKings, Jimmy Rollins is $100 cheaper than Tulo. It's a no-brainer. It's an absolute no-brainer. I'm looking through other options.
Oh, I want to bring up one first baseman that we missed, just because he's one of my favorite players. Konerko versus Martin Perez. Any love for the old guy?
I played Konerko last night in an awesome matchup. I know Knapp and I talked about that. Yeah, he went 0 for 4, so I hate him. I'm rating him off.
Okay, he's dead to you.
He's dead to me. You got that right, man.
I don't know. There's so much opportunity cost there. I guess if you're in a tournament, like I don't mind stacking, like mini stacking the right-handed bats, like 2 through 6 for the White Sox, because they'll probably be lower owned than they should just due to the 3 really high scoring teams that everyone else will be on. The problem is you can't play Abreu and Konerko on most sites.
Yeah, and I would obviously take Abreu.
Davis, as a GPP play, though, Dan Uggla, whenever Dan Uggla faces a mediocre right or lefty, I'll take a look at him in GPP just because the dude's home run potential is pretty wild, and he can hit him off anybody, any lefty, no matter who it is. In 7 at-bats, he's got 1 homer off him this year and 4 RBIs off lefties. So I know that's not much at all, but the point is he can hit lefties. He actually even hits for average off lefties.
Another shortstop I want to talk about before we moved on is Alexei Ramirez. Going through like kind of a power surge right now with 5 home runs already. I think his previous career high was 15?
Yeah, is that something crazy or what?
Yeah, and he's in a good spot, hitter's ballpark against the lefty Martin Perez. He'll definitely be cheaper than Tulo. So if it just works that way, like I still think even after this whole conversation, I'm still going Eovaldi and Gray on DraftKings. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to afford Tulo. Yeah, I know. At least in a tournament.
Okay, in a tournament I could see it, but that 9K is.
Yeah.
What, Eovaldi?
Mm-hmm.
I like Eovaldi too, but you can pay
for a tournament.
I'm
going to play him in a tournament.
Couple of things about Alexei Ramirez, Davis. One thing is his splits aren't really affected much at all, whether it's power, whether it's hitting for average, by the matchup, lefty-righty matchup. Not really affected by career splits. And he is really expensive. He is super expensive. I don't know. I like him because, just like you said, the surge in power has been unbelievable. Even not hitting down in the lineup too. But I don't know. With other options, Tulowitzki, it's really, really hard not to play Tulowitzki tonight.
Okay, that's fair. Third base. So this is kind of looking like a spot where people are going to want to look for some salary relief if we're paying up for Sonny Gray, if we're spending at first base, spending at shortstop. So there's Marcus Semien, there's Nolan Arenado, Kuzmanov.
Kuzmanov.
I think he didn't end up in the lineup today.
Who? Oh, Kuzmanov's in the lineup.
Okay, no, he is. Okay.
At 5th, right behind Fielder.
Yeah, but against a righty.
Yeah, he's hitting though.
Yeah, he is. He's hot.
It depends if his price is adjusted. Like FanDuel, he's still $3K. Whatever, throw him out there for sure. But
Yeah, and righty-righty matchups are a lot different usually than lefty-lefty matchups because righties are going to see righties the majority of the time anyway.
Yeah. Okay, so out of Arenado, Ash, and Semyon, who are you taking, Leone?
Ash? Ash?
I think I've got Ash just because he's the cheapest, and that's.
Ashy.
I mean, I hate to be repetitive, but my goal is to kind of get as much Rockies Phillies as I can in, and this is a good spot to not only accomplish that goal but save a lot.
Leone, you muted yourself again, bro. I think his internet might have screwed up. All right, so continue that line of thought about third base plays, Laffy.
Cody Ashley, after a good start to the season, has really not. Look at that picture of Mike. God.
Hello?
I can't see it.
He looks like he's 200 pounds heavier than he is. You
know what, Dave? I can hear you.
He's a thin man, and
he
that
can hear you. He's going on a vegan diet. Leave him alone.
Mike, it does you a disservice.
Hold on.
It's from 5 years. It was college,
No, it
throwing on those extra pounds.
It was from a couple months ago.
Are you vegan right now, Leone?
I'm mixing it in. I'm not.
Dude, because I was gonna say, if you want a DFBC seat while you were on a vegan diet, that means that you gotta stay vegan for the whole season.
Agreed.
Mike,
I've been tailing off recently just because I've been you got to plan for that stuff. My problem is, I'm working. I get up, I don't eat breakfast, and then all of a sudden I'm starving, and then I go to Mighty Taco. If anyone knows what Mighty Taco is, it's amazing.
Dude, you live such a great life. I wish my life was to just be stressed out about fantasy sports all the time. I hate going to class.
Yeah, dude, that sucks. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
No, it's terrible. It's really terrible.
Mike, does mixing in vegan mean you have a couple carrots with your steak dinner? What does that mean?
I try to eat vegan when I can.
It means he eats quinoa.
But if I'm going out with my friends and we're going to a steakhouse or something, I'll get a steak.
Vegan's actually not as healthy as you'd think. But moving on,
you don't get iron and protein and shit.
You do if you just got to do it right.
Yeah, you gotta eat lots of seeds, lots of nuts.
Lagoons.
Such a good word. All right, let's talk about outfielders because. This is completely an anecdotal observation, but you guys can tell me if I'm wrong. I feel like winning teams on a nightly basis, their outfielders perform really well, especially on FanDuel. So I feel like nailing your outfielders is just really important.
Yeah, and it's tougher because you go from having 30 starting third basemen to 90. You know what I mean? It's a lot tougher, and a lot of times you find the value at outfield, which is tough because ideally you'd like to find it at second base or shortstop, but sometimes you have to look for it in the outfield. Sorry, Mike's making a lot of noise over there.
So much fucking noise. So much noise.
So much noise, dude.
If you re-say it without the word, it doesn't go.
What?
Maybe I misheard what Davis said. Never mind. Moving on.
All right. Outfielder plays, Leone. Hit me. Who you like?
Carlos Gonzalez, obvious play, but even though he's really expensive, normally I don't go out of my way to get a hitter in, but he's a guy I might go out of my way to fit in tonight. And if you're going cheap, the guy I'm gravitating towards a lot just because Moreland and Dickerson are not in lineups like I wanted to see is Mike Karp hitting fifth for the Red Sox. He's pretty cheap on DraftKings, $2,700, FanDuel, $2,400. That's some nice salary cap relief in a decent spot to succeed. Oh my God, Kitchen's giving me the look. Oh, did you super close on me? Gosh, God, come on!
I just saw it. Okay. All right. So Carlos Gonzalez. I think I'm going with Christian Yelich as my second guy. I know that there's some park factor there stuff, but at the end of the day, I hate saying at the end of the day. My thought process in that analysis is that because I don't consider myself a top 10% MLB DFS player, I need to increase my opportunity. Like, I need to increase my variance in like large 50-50s to give myself better odds. And I think a way to make my scores more variant is to add as many extra at-bats as possible to my lineup. So taking guys who are hitting first and hitting second. Now, I think that strategy for me is going to change in like 2 months when I really find a projection system that I like and that works for me. But I'm still working on that right now. So I think Yelich is someone that I'm taking for sure.
Yeah, and let me give you another one if you like the leadoff, Davis. Shin-Soo Choo against the right. I mean, he smokes right. He had he hit a homer last night. He had been slumping along with the rest of the Rangers, but I really like him tonight. If this guy starts to heat up, and he's facing not very good righties, we're definitely going to be seeing some big games out of him. And as you said, the leadoff spot. Now, the strategy you were talking about, in FanDuel, it can bite you in the ass if they go 0 for 5.
Yeah.
But on sites like DraftKings, where you're not going to lose points for strikeouts and outs, I think that's a pretty valid strategy for your. Yeah, it's a pretty decent.
Yeah,
theory.
I'm not saying I'm like bad at MLB or anything. It's just like I think that
No, I know what you mean.
I'm just learning. Like, I played last year, but now that I'm playing like real volume and playing for money that like matters because I'm using DFS money to pay for stuff. I need to be kind of conservative for these first couple months while I'm like figuring out a way to be profitable every night.
Yeah, Mike, what do you think about Soriano against the lefty Bedard?
I like Dominic Brown around the same price everywhere. I don't find myself on Soriano. I don't mind it because he's got power, but he's playing down in Park in Tampa Bay. Beltran's not in that lineup. That's kind of, again, similar to the Smiley situation we're talking about. I'm not picking on anyone there, and I'm not really playing on anyone there either.
Yeah, it's hard to blame you for that one. But I like Dom Brown. His power hasn't been that much, but you know he can hit for power. And where else would you like to see him start than Coors Field?
Yeah, and I'm going to be a little bit of a homer. I'm going to say for the 4th day in a row. Well, no, I guess he got a day off. I'm going to play Aoki for the Royals. He's been leading off. The team has been hitting pretty well. They're going to get a weak pitcher for the 4th time in a row. Moustakas is hitting all the way at 7th, so that automatic out is pretty far away from Aoki in the order. But other than Gordon and Moustakas, well, Gordon's been okay. Butler and Moustakas have just been horrendous, though. Yeah, I think I'm on Aoki again.
I like Gordon too. I think if this was a day without those super high scoring run environments, the Royals would be really good value plays. I wrote that about Gordon today. He's someone that on a more normal day I feel like I would have targeted with his price point across the industry, but I seem to be opting for higher run scoring games.
And if you're looking for somebody to get on base and steal some bags, Ben Revere is always capable of doing that. I love base stealers. Like D. Gordon, when he was cheap, I play him as much as I could. Batting at the top of the lineup when he was. I'm not sure where he is today. But is Revere starting? Yeah, he's starting today.
Yeah, he's leading off.
He had been losing time to Tony Gwynn Jr., but he comes back yesterday for his first start in like 4 or 5 games. Oh, more than that, 6. Goes 3 for 4. He got caught stealing, but as long as he's running, that's all that matters to me. They're not gonna catch him every time.
Yeah, I think base stealing is pretty great. I would say I prefer Aoki to Revere. I know that Revere's in like a better spot. I know. But I just think Aoki's a better player, and I think that at some level, every day we want to bet on skills. Like there are a lot of factors: park environment, opposing pitcher, anything. But like it is important to bet on skills, and I think Aoki's in a good spot. And I don't think Ricky Nolasco is a good pitcher at all. The
one thing to consider though is with a 10-5 over under, despite the Phillies not really hitting much, you got a leadoff guy. If you're looking to get the runs home, if you're looking for runs, Revere's your guy.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I'll agree with that.
One kind of contrarian guy that we didn't talk about yet that I like for tournaments is Adam Jones. He's been kind of cold, but he's got reverse splits, like big reverse splits over his career. Hits same-handed pitching much better than opposite-handed pitching. And Lackey, at least not for his career, but recently, last year and into this year, for whatever reason, has been giving up a lot of power to right-handed batters. So I think that's a nice tournament play. He's not too high priced anywhere. There's some opportunity cost, obviously, because it's not a Colorado, Texas, Phillies guy, but he's someone I might mix in tournaments.
And I have one more cheap guy, Colin Cowgill leading off versus Smiley.
Oh, Cowgirl.
If Smiley, everyone remembers him from opening day last year when he was with the Mets. But yeah, if Smiley is indeed not stretched out and he only goes 4 or 5 innings and they get into that bullpen and he picks up 5 at bats versus a not completely ready Smiley and some guys in the Tigers bullpen, I think he's in a pretty good spot.
The only problem is he'll get yanked the second. He'll probably get yanked the second a righty reliever comes in there. That's the issue with him.
Will he though? Like, do they have outfielders who can come in for him?
Recently, he's been getting taken out after a couple of bats when a righty comes in. The past 2 starts.
I mean, I just know that with Calhoun hurt, they can't have that many guys who can play outfield left.
Yeah, no, you have a point. I don't know. I'm looking at because I remember I rostered him a couple games ago, and he had 3 at bats, and yeah, he got taken out after a couple of them. So
okay,
it's just something. It's something worth noting. I'm not disagreeing with your line of thinking at all. I'm just saying I am nervous that if Smiley doesn't get stretched out and he only goes 4 innings, it is possible that he'll only see 4 at bats.
Are you mad?
3 at bats. Sorry.
Okay. That's all of our plays for today. Pick one guy who's going to hit a home run, Leone. One guy. You're most confident in him hanging dong.
I'm going Cargo before he does.
Cargo.
Oh!
Ryan Howard, then I'll go.
Ryan Howard. I'm gonna go Abreu. I'm gonna go Jose Abreu. Just feels like a night where he's gonna dong it.
But my under the radar guy still sticks as Adam Jones as a guy who could hit a home run that a lot of people might not be on.
Okay. All right.
I'll give you an under the radar home run is going to be Dan Ugla.
Cool. We're gonna start doing that every day. One obvious guy and then one under the radar guy. All right. Now, one stack that's not Phillies or Rockies. Or
Rangers. Take the Rangers out too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. One sort of off the board stack, and then the 2 hitters that you would leave out on DraftKings. Leone.
It's tough for me. There's a few that I think could hit. The White Sox right-handed batters I like 2 through 6. I like the Royals left-handed batters as a stack, and then Oakland is tough because Cozart keeps the ball on the ground a ton, but if he gets a little bit unlucky on balls in play and his walking guys, he could get a quick hook, and then you've got a bad bullpen.
Yeah.
We're going with Baltimore.
Baltimore?
If we're going under the radar stacks.
Yeah, versus Lackey. I can see it.
Haven't been performing much, but there's a lot of talent throughout that entire lineup. And they got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 righties batting today, so
I think I'm going to say the Dodgers against Wade Miley. Wade Miley sucks. He does not have the skills. Like, some guys, you just say they don't get their peripherals. Nah, he's just not good.
Yeah, I like that one, too. The right-handed bats for the Dodgers hit lefties well, too. I mean, kind of crushes lefties. Yep. He disappointed last week against Miley, but I think he hit a few balls hard that just found gloves.
Yep. All right. Is there anything else? Any other words of wisdom you guys would like to give to everybody?
Yeah, focus on the Colorado game.
All right, that's obvious.
That's all I got. There's my wisdom for you, bud.
Leone?
I got nothing. I'm not very wise.
Well, then that's it for the Daily Fantasy Insiders MLB show.
Charlie Morton.
Charlie Morton. There you go. That's Leone's bit of advice. I'm Davis Maddock. You can find me on Twitter at Davis Maddock. You can find Leone at LeoneM444. And you can find...
leave a 4 out.
Is it 4 fours?
4 fours.
4
4 fours. Okay. 4444. And at Lofty_D on Twitter. We'll be around. We'll answer your questions. Swag.
Oh, he said swag.
Yep.
Almost made it the whole show.
Look at Dave lounging over there. Have you ever seen
Yeah.
the South Park Warcraft episode?
Yes. Yes.